Hey, there, everybody. It's KB5 MIQ Big Boy. Got a few subjects I want to talk about tonight. Picking some stuff off social media. People asking, hey, Ham Radio Cat. Aaron, number one fan, Ham Radio Cat just jumped up here. Before we get into that, I want to congratulate our shortwave listener that we've been, a friend of ours, has been listening to us for several months. Tim, he just passed his tech test this week. Already got his rig up and on the air. All he's waiting on his ticket right now. I went down Friday morning, I believe, and we checked his antenna set up. He put up the same rotatable dipole homemade antenna that he got from WD5HKV. Got a good antenna. I done a radio check with HKV and an IS control operator. Got Tim on the air for a few minutes. Just that that's legal to do as long as you're present and you're the control operator of the station. So he'll be checking in on our roundtable hopefully this week. I told him he's at the mercy of government employees the holiday weekend, so it hadn't posted yet, but maybe it'll post tomorrow. Anyway, congratulations, Tim, on getting your ticket. Yes, I know the answer everybody wants to use is these things, or instant answers, ask questions. I've always tried to promote people to do the research, get the books and make your own decision. And I realize I'm old, and a lot of you guys are used to these Google answers and things, and that's fine. I ain't knocking that, but we're gonna talk a little bit about some of the posts I see and some of the answers people get, and I'll give you my opinion on it. Here's one post right here. I'm considering joining the ARRL and would like to know if there's any real benefit from being a member. It's only $49 a year. I'm not concerned about the price, but with available training, articles, magazines, and stuff like that is a true benefit. Most people have a positive viewpoint of ARRL and QST magazine. Um, I've been a member off and on. I'm probably gonna stay a member now since I'm back into the hobby. Pretty much as retired now as much as I can. I think it's great. Uh, you got access to a ton of their archive information. Got access to current things going on ham radio. They got two magazines out. I am going to switch my subscription next year to the On the Air, I believe it's called, magazine. It's more set up for operating and new operators, even though I'm not a new operator. QST's got a lot of technical stuff in it, and I just want to try the other magazine for a year, see how that is. One guy on here got political about didn't think the ARRL was helping us with our frequency allocations. That's sort of like the NRA, they're the lobby that we've got with the FCC. But if you look at ARRL, look at for the information access you'll have using that, and you'll be a good investment with it. Okay. Here's another one. Looking for a simple antenna, but yet biggest bang for the buck. Well, you ask that kind of question, you're going to get a ton of answers. First off, it's a vague question. You didn't specify what frequencies or what bands you're wanting to operate on. If you're talking about VHF, UHF, or HF, all over HF, that's something you got to look at. Um, Everybody's going to tell you that their antenna setup's the best. I'm a minimalist. I believe in keep it simple as possible and making your own antennas. So when you ask that kind of question, just be prepared for the answers you're going to get. There's not a lot of information there that you asked about, and you're going to get a whole bunch of variety of answers. I still say invest in an antenna handbook is a good thing for somebody like that that's wanting to really figure out what's the best antenna. Okay, here's one, and I would like somebody give me some comments on this. I run a cheap $20 computer headset with my stock hand mic. This is kind of a picture. Ham spent a lot of money on EQs, rack equipment, and mixers to make these mics sound good on ham radio when all you need is basically the hand mic and a factory mic. Now, there's a lot to that. in some earlier videos I posted about this Hill Pro set, I've gone back to using my hand mic on my 897. Uh, Jeff says he can't tell. He said I could tell this difference, but he said I'm clear. Cody says I sound muffled a little bit. There's a guy down at Tim's the other night couldn't even understand me because he said I sounded too muffled with it. I don't know what the answer is. I've gone to Hills, everything, Yaesu. They don't have anything for the 897. I emailed Hill. They said use the same settings as the 891. Well, the settings ain't the same. So I don't know if anybody got any suggestions. I prefer a headset type microphone just from using them in the military. If anybody got any suggestions for any settings on this Hill Pro set or something I'm missing, or suggestions for a different kind that might work better, I'd appreciate it. Okay. Looking for recommendations for digital multimeters and analog too for radio testing, electronics, electrical work. I'm tired of cheap imports failing. I've been looking at Klein Tools and Fluke brands so far. Okay. I have used this Micronta purchased at Radio Shack in 1992 since 1992. This has been one I've used on the bench here in the shack. I did electrical work, residential, commercial electrical work for several years on the side. That was the meter that went with my tool bag everywhere I went. I used Fluke meters at Red River, where I worked at for 37 years. I spent about 12, 13 years working on electrical components out there. Used the Fluke meter daily. Flukes are great. I recommend them to anybody. Also recommend anything but the cheapy Harbor Freight digital meters. My instructor at electrical school told us, unless there's electrician work now we're not talking bench work. As electrician work, the cheapest digital meter will do you more good in the field than the most expensive analog meter. And he said the only reason he even kept an analog meter was to check capacitors with when he had to work on troubleshoot motors. I do realize there's more uses in amateur radio and electronics using an analog meter on the bench. But that's something that your level of expertise in electrical and electronics should bear in mind on how much money you choose to spend on that kind of meter. Personally, I can't remember that. I wish I'd asked Jeff tonight on the radio what brand his was. Maybe he'll comment it on here. He bought one at Lowe's, I believe, and he's had real good luck with it. And it's just a mid-range price digital multimeter. Okay. Let's see. Looking for suggestions. I've been messing around with an HT since getting started. I want to start building a shack though. With money being a factor, how would you start and what equipment? Would I be better off getting two separate radios, VHF, UHF, and a separate HF, or go for all in one? I know it's subjective when it comes to brand names, but how do you start? Looking back, what would you do different? Now, here's the answer I gave him. Ultimately, that has to be your decision. I bought a Yaesu 897D back in 07, great radio, HF6, VHF, UHF. One issue with this route is if you ever have to send that type in for repair, you don't have anything used while it's gone. And that's happened to me. Also, depending on how much you use VHF, UHF, that part of the radio may be used very little, which is my case exactly. My suggestion is an HF 6-meter rig and a separate VHF, UHF if you can afford it. And then I told him about my YouTube channel. Now, you notice I didn't tell him he needed to buy any particular brand. That's just my suggestions on the type of rig. Now, here's one of his answers. I'm working on this dilemma. Going to take at least one big HF radio, one HF mobile, maybe 10 meters, a couple of 2-meter mobiles, handheld and base. All in all, I'm about 10,000 the way I'm thinking. Now, if you got that kind of money to spend, that's great. I ain't spent $10,000 on this hobby since I've been in it. And I don't think I've spent $3,000 on this hobby since 91. Since I've been in it. But if you got that kind of money, that's great. There's nothing wrong with that. But you don't have to spend that kind of money to get into this. Look at used gear, like we said. Work on your budget and get what works for you. But don't let anybody tell you any kind of radio you buy is a starter radio or beginner radio. Don't listen to that. Any HF rig you buy will serve you well. Just get one that works and get one you can live with in your budget. Let's see. New Tech General looking for suggestions on beam or Yagi antennas on a rotator roof mount. All kinds of ideas. You're getting into every response under the sun with that kind of question. I run push-up poles. I've got a 2-element MFJ Moxon Yagi 10 meter up about 45 feet with our homemade 3-element vertical FM 2 meter antenna on top of that, using an old, very old Alliance TV rotator. So you got any amount of money, the sky's the limit on what you're going to spend on an antenna. Again, that's going to be a decision that you have to make based on your location, your ability, your license class, and your budget. I highly recommend, if you're a tech, plan on upgrading and plan your antenna farm accordingly. You don't want to get locked in to something that then you have to redo everything when you upgrade your license. But again, you're going to have to plan it out based on the factors I just said. And finally, what's a good general purpose 10 meter radio? Okay. Now, you're getting every kind of question. That's the ultimate Ford versus Chevy question. My viewpoint has always been, if you can afford it, go ahead and buy you an all-band HF rig. Don't let anybody tell you not to buy it thinking you might try to operate out of band and out of your license limits. You're a licensed amateur radio operator. You're supposed to follow the rules. There's nothing wrong with a single band 10 meter mobiles. I've had a couple of them in the past. Had one in the truck, had one on the bench. Made a lot of contacts with them. But again, it's planning for expansion, planning for upgrading your license. Excuse me, if any way possible, try to get you a all band HF rig. And it don't matter what brand it is. Just get you one that works. Get you an Elmer to help you pick one out if you need to, or if you got the money, pick any of the big three and buy you a new one. Ultimately, all the decisions you make in your shack are your decisions. Don't let anybody tell you, oh, you bought the wrong radio, or you ain't got the right antenna, or if you're not doing this way I tell you, you're not doing it right. What I try to do with this channel is just give you the tools to help you make your own decisions. Anybody has any questions, feel free to email me. My email's on my QRZ page. KB5MIQ is my call sign. Y'all remember Main Trading in Paris? They're doing a lot of changes on their store. He's got a lot of used equipment on his website, and a lot of it comes with a 30-day warranty. Good place to check out your equipment. Irving is still having a ham fest in, I believe, March. I'll have their advertisement on here. Farmersville has their monthly sidewalk sale. I'll put that on here also at the end of this. Remember your Facebook pages, club pages, Force H Amateur Radio, Shreveport Amateur Radio, Dallas Amateur Radio, Cowtown Amateur Radio. Good Facebook pages for information: Ham Radio, Flea Market, Trading Post, Ham Radio, Amateur Radio Elmer's, Texas Amateur Ham Radio, all kinds of them out there. We're still doing a roundtable Mondays, Tuesdays, Thursdays, Friday nights, 7:30 Central Standard Time. Usually on 28.450. But if the band's open, there's some nets there, we'll probably be on 470. Hopefully we'll have a new member here this week in there in the roundtable with us. Y'all please check in if you hear us. We'll thank everybody who subscribed to the channel. It's KB5MIQ Big Boy 73.